It was important for youth ambassadors to call on Mayor Sly James to be honored by us because he was our first speaker at our very first event. And I remember when he arrived, what sticks in my mind most is that he was all about the students, all about the youth, and all about the mission of the program. I think he felt so incredibly connected and close to youth ambassadors and the students. He, very early on, validated the work that the youth were doing and the work that our teachers were doing and the mission, the general mission of youth ambassadors, just by showing up.
Sly has always had a really great heart for children, for education, for literacy. He has always worked hard to make sure that every child gets access to excellent education. I know he's been involved with myriad programs across the city that all address leveling the playing field so that all kids get access to educational opportunities. And I think it's just at the core of who he is as a person.
Earliest times talking with Sly about where he wanted to go as a mayor. It was not about the next 4 years and the next 8 years. It was 20 years from now. What can we put in place that can help the youth of today? How can we think about that and do things that help the youth of today? His passion for early learning and his passion to help students get ready to read at an early age through Turn the Page and other things that he's done in this city comes across not only as incredibly genuine, but effective because of that passion is always there for our youth.
Clearly, when I think of Sly and kids, I think of the week after week after week that he visited elementary schools to read to kids in the classroom. His idea of what became Turn the Page KC to provide reading skills and early literacy for every child in Kansas City is just evidence of his commitment to youth in general, and giving them a good start in life was critically important to him.
One day that I really felt like, oh my gosh, this is something special, was when it was probably our first few months in office, and we did one of our very first school visits where Sly would go into schools and read with the young people there. And there was this little girl who you could tell was kind of a little apprehensive about meeting him. And as we engaged with her and the teacher, we found out that she was a little bit scared because she wasn't used to seeing Black men in suits. And so it really was kind of like that aha moment for several of us, that definitely the work to increase third grade reading proficiency was about academics, of course, but there was a lot more to it. There was a lot of leadership lessons being taught with that, and it was really indicative of the spirit that Sly brought to his role as mayor, to make sure that the little kids in Kansas City could aspire to be something great. They could aspire to be mayor because they saw someone in front of them that looked just like them.
So the thing about Sly is there's so much to say, but I always think like he just gets you in his orbit, and it's really hard to say no to Sly.
Tenacity is a terrific attribute of Sly's. He's irrepressible. He is catalytic. He is enthusiastic. There are all those things that made him, I think, successful in life and made him a very popular mayor for Kansas City as well.
And about 5 minutes into meeting him, I thought, oh my gosh, whatever he is selling, I want to be a part of it. When we were in the mayor's office, our staff would always joke and say if there were 3 brick walls, Sly would want to run through all 3 of them at the same time, especially if it meant that he could make a positive impact for kids.
I love about Sly that he is very thoughtful and insightful and hilarious. He knows when to be serious, and he always knows when to lighten up the room. I think anyone who plays in the world of Kansas City politics has to be resilient, and I have watched Sly over the years be in that world and deal with some of the biggest bumps and bruises that could come along, and he has always been resilient, always stuck to his principles, and always forged ahead with whatever his plan was.
I think Sly is a living, breathing embodiment of resiliency. Whether it's his own personal journey, or whether it's the mindset that he brought to the mayor's office. He used to always kind of throw back to the Marine Corps motto, improvise, adapt, and overcome, which is all about resiliency. And that's just who he is as a person, and it's how he lives his life.
Sly's life is a study in resilience. You know, when I think about everything he's been through at different stages of his life and how he's bounced back and gone forward and pushed further than other people thought he could do, that's been his life. And I think because he's lived those experiences and has had that experience, he likes to share that in only a way that Sly can. And sometimes it's a suck it up, get through it. Sometimes it's really caring and really focused on the individual. And he has an innate kind of feel for that sometimes, of just what somebody needs to hear at a given time to push through and get to that next thing of what they have to do to be successful.
I think Sly could well have been a kid in the program growing up. I think that a great deal of the work he has done has been about providing opportunity. He is a guy that knows well that talent is equally distributed, but opportunity is not. And programs like Youth Ambassadors really provide an opportunity to kids who have all the talent in the world, but maybe haven't learned how to maximize that talent in a way that really serves them. And I think everything Sly has done has been about really providing opportunity for everyone in this community, but most particularly youth. I think he's a champion.
Hey Sly, thank you so much for not only being an amazing friend, an amazing mentor, but an amazing leader that shows everyone around you what leadership really is.
Say thank you for including me and giving me the opportunity to join you in promoting youth literacy in Kansas City. I would say thank you for so many fun times together and for the example that you've given to our whole community.
Mayor Sly, I'm just really proud of what you've done for Kansas City and continue to do for Kansas City and beyond in helping all of our youth achieve more, think about achieving more, and having the level of success that we all want them to have.
I would say thank you to Mayor Sly James for saying yes way back when we were just a startup, a tiny little nonprofit no one had even heard of, but he believed in the mission and he showed up, and I want to thank him for that.
To me, over the past couple decades, you have been a role model, a mentor, a friend, a tormentor, and it's been a delight to have you in my life. I just think it's really terrific when people pause to say thank you. And it's an honor to be recognized for work that you do not because you're looking for someone to recognize you, but because you believe passionately that it's the right thing to do. And over the past 20-some years, I've watched you do that from one thing to another. You've moved through those things about which you are most passionate. And this is just one night of recognition, and you deserve many. So I'm happy to be here among all of these people celebrating you. Congratulations.